Okay, looking at the skull, there's obviously a lot of prep work we need to be doing here. It's a lot of molding lines, as you can tell. It was $1. Come on, you can't ask for anything more. So it looks like I got a lot of sanding to do, probably with an emery board, some fine grit sandpaper. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up all these lines. I'm going to try to make them blend in and disappear, hopefully. Next, what I want to do is I want to open this up underneath the jaw. Maybe to about the base of the skull, right about here. Just open this whole thing up. And then what I can do is I can just take a little bit of putty and actually construct the actual inside of the jaw, leaving it open. That way I can get into here a lot better. My idea is to actually open this whole thing up so it doesn't look so solid. I want it to look open. Maybe airflow, something like that. But to me, it would look cheesy if the inside of the mouth is still solid like this. And if I need to, I can always just reconstruct inside, what is it, the bridge of the mouth inside there on the top part of the jaw. I can do that later on. And maybe that would be a good platform for if I do decide to put the cockpit inside. So let me clean this bad boy up, get cutting, maybe. I'm still debating on that. And then we'll look at the TIE Fighter itself and see how we're going to dissect that and what our best method of operation for attaching it to the skull will be. Okay, guys, I got the skull as sanded as I need to for right now. Sorry about the harsh lighting. It's starting to get dark out. I don't have the greatest lighting in here, so we'll all have to deal with it. Once I start putting it together, I promise I'll give you better lighting. But so now I got to figure out how to take this apart. So I'd like to cut it off like right as this thing starts turning around. Keep all of this, and then somehow blend that into the temple, or at least the side of the skull here. Obviously, we'll be blending it with putty or something. Another thing I didn't think of is I knew this part came out. It's just the bottom and the back, and it's adjustable because it has a hinge. What if I were to work it, aside from it looking like a toilet right now, work it into here? I don't know. I think that's something to think about. Maybe not. All right, guys, I was able to get all the pieces out cleanly. Now, in a shitty turn of fate here, I lost a little footage by my fat fingers slipping on the button. So I'm going to have to describe what I kind of did here. Simply, on the bottom here, there are a couple of screws. There's one there, and the same on this side. And when I removed those screws, the wings didn't come off. There's going to be a screw under here, but I'm not trying to pop this off. In fact, I think this method's going to work out a lot more in my benefit anyway. But once that happened, I took those screws out and it wasn't coming apart. I started to see if I could dissect it just manually. And this is the lid for the top here, and it literally just slipped right out. So we're probably going to get this nice and cleaned up, get rid of this whole piece here, and maybe get rid of this so we can just glue it to the top. I'm not going to get too fancy with that. And then what I ended up doing was, and not this way so much, but this way, I was able to just open it up loosely like this because the screws are missing. And the windshield itself literally just popped right out. So I was more concerned about this thing destroying. If the rest of this got damaged, I'd be pissed. But since I was able to save this, we're good to go. And then I just snipped it here, and then snipped it in the back. And they came apart. So I think what I'm going to do from here on out is start trimming away at this slowly and then eventually going to the Dremel and sizing it up to the skull and make it look nicey nice. Now the skull is going to be aimed slightly downward because I don't want it to look like it's just flying in the sky like this. I want it to, it's coming for you, And then the idea I have for this is to actually pop it in through the back. Just make a hole big enough so it seats on this lip on the inside. I don't know if you can see that lip. There you go. But there's also a lip. Let me get a pointy thing right here. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll just remove all this material, of course, after measuring, and then somehow get the seat in here. So this is in front of it, this little nub. And then we'll worry about where we need to fill inside the eye sockets. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing right now, fitting basically the windshield and the wings and figuring out how we're going to get those attached. And then I'll worry about this crap here. The other thing I'm really worried about is getting the cockpit in there. This is still an afterthought, but since I have it, why not, right? I'm using pretty much everything else from it besides the main body. It's got some really cool details. Sticker, yes, but it still looks cool. And it would be nice if that was in there somehow. And I know I can make it happen, but what I need to do to get that in there is to have this all opened up, and then, I don't know, we'll figure it out, and then somehow close this off afterwards. Maybe that's where these will come in with a little bit of putty work, maybe some extra plastic. So, all right, so I'm going to have to sit here and snip at this and see where we're going with that. And hopefully we'll have our plans in order here. All right, guys. Barely even awake. I just started my coffee, had my first butt. That's a cigarette for you folks outside New England. Yeah, that's how excited I am to get working on this. I'm not even awake yet. So, yeah, I got a hole right here in the front of the face. I cut that out. Surprisingly pretty clean and even. And started fitting the windshield. Now, the reason I cut this right away is because my initial reaction was to try to pop the windshield in from the inside, because there is a lip to this, you know, and I was going to seat it on that lip. But then I realized, and this was purposeful, or on purpose, I should say, there's kind of like a little ledge here, which I'm going to have to fill in a little bit just to give it more substance. But where the windshield is actually going to sit, if my fat fingers will cooperate, there we go. Okay. And I realized if I just squeeze the skull, now, Chris, look at the skull itself, not the viewfinder. It just pops right in. I got to be very careful with it at this stage because it's barely in there. But once I get that glued down, I can put my fingers in here and readjust it a little bit. It's just a matter of putting a little bit of putty work down here, maybe a little bit right there, and we're good to go. The windshield, I think, is going to work. That was the scariest part, in my opinion. Now the second scariest part is getting these on evenly. And I don't know if you can tell, but I've already started trimming around here. I'm going to do some actual intricate work with my Dremel here in a few minutes just to get it down to the basic material. And hopefully it'll kind of line up. Now I got 3 ways I can do this. I can just literally keep grinding until this sits flush on the skull. I could get it down to minimum, obviously clean up these big pieces, but get it to where I wanted to, attach it and then fill it with putty, or fill it with putty and then attach it. Or I could do a combination of both of those things while cutting slits into the skull and inserting these, so it kind of looks like it's coming out. So I'm more concerned with making it even and upright. So let me get playing around with that. Think about what I'm going to actually do to get the wings on there, and then we'll worry about putting the windshield on. Normally, at this point, the windshield would go on, but I want to see how everything's going to... I'm going to take my time with this one. I'm not going to rush like I do with a lot of other things. All right, guys, we've gotten a lot of work done here, and I'm pretty sure I have solidified our method of construction. Things seem to be going a lot smoother than I anticipated, and that's fantastic. I love it when that happens. Not to say I don't like a challenge, but when something like this and you're all nervous, whatever. So I started off by cleaning these up a little bit. I just used the Dremel to get down to exactly where I wanted to. I'm going to use some needle files to clean it up a little bit more. But as you can see here, let's see if I can't put it right there. Yeah. It's going to work out pretty well. Slight bit of putty work, but I anticipated that, but not as much as I originally thought. Both sides are primarily pretty much the same. Let's see if I can't. There we go. Again, the skull's going to be aiming down slightly. So it's working out pretty well. Very minimal touch-ups to blend everything together. Next thing I did was I opened this up very slightly. I wanted to go minimalist on this because, again, I didn't know exactly where I was going to go. Initially, I got excited because the cockpit just seats right there. And I don't know. I don't think the cockpit's high enough. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I'm going to have to think about that. But either way, the cockpit will pop in there. I've done it. I'm not going to do it on camera here because it's a pain in the ass to get out. And if I have to, I can just glue it to the inside lip of this, which leads to this bad boy right here. I think if I trim away a little bit more closer to the jaw itself, this will slip in straight and a little bit more in. And then I'll just have to flatten out some of this this roundness here to get this to sit flush. Again, slight little bit of putty work. I think this bad boy is coming together pretty well. Last thing of note was this is the part that came off of the lower jaw. And if I absolutely have to, see if I can do this on camera, it will fit inside here to create some kind of a bridge between the openness of this jaw, because I really do want that open. I don't know why I'm so set on that. Maybe because a real jaw is like that, but I swear this worked before. But it does. It fits in there nicely. Just, again, slight bit of work. And I think we're good to go. So I'm going to leave it at that for this video. Try not to make these too long. And hopefully by the time I come back, I will have it all completely worked out. And we'll start assembling this. I do still have to think about putting this on there. I did trim the little tabs that were on here, but they still need a little bit of more grinding down. So I think about 20 minutes with this bad boy. My sassy chick memory board. We'll get that flush to pop in the top. So I hope you enjoyed watching this, guys. Go ahead and leave me feedback down below. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All feedback to me is positive. Thanks as always so much for watching. Until next time, guys, take care and bye-bye.